Hi, BonBon here. This is part 2 of the 15k celebration Q&A. Want to watch part 1? Link is at the top of the description. Otherwise, we're just going to jump in where we left off last time.
Do you have fun when creating reviews?
Yes, no, maybe, and depends. On the whole, yes. Let's face it. Every single day, I'm opening up a map from somebody who's created something, and these creations could be anything. And it's exploring this creation. It's visiting a world I've never been to before and trying to portray that across to you, the viewer. It's a wonderment. That said, of the process, let's say I spend 3 hours doing the map review. Of that time, maybe half an hour is spent actually exploring the map, and then another 15 minutes working out what the key areas are, what route I'm going to take, that kind of thing. And then I'll spend about another half an hour doing the flyover, the recorded flyover, exploring, just doing the whole thing. Half an hour, which is then sped up a little bit in the editor. Then I spend maybe an hour cutting it, cropping it, snipping it, adding the tags, and that's the boring bit. That is the boring bit. And then I get to spend another 15 to 20 minutes just talking into the microphone, giggling along over what we're both watching together. So it can be actually a lot of fun with boring bits tucked in there as well. On the other side of it, sometimes I'm a human being. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I am just not in the mood. Maybe I've got a headache, maybe I've had a hard day, maybe I'm run down. Sometimes I just don't want to do it, but the show must go on, and I'm committed. I am committed. So on those days, I load up the map, I do the flyovers, and then at the end, I'll try to sound chirpy and do my happy voiceover. And hopefully nobody notices, and occasionally you guys do, and occasionally I get away with it. And then, of course, there are days that I get an amazing map that might take me 4.5 hours to review, and it's like fully engaging. And some days I get a map that takes me 4.5 hours to review, and it is awful. And looking at a map that is awful for 4.5 hours, and then saying positive things about it for 20 minutes at the end, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. But you gotta do it. You've got to do it. It is what it is, what it is. So I would say, all told, if I didn't enjoy doing it, I wouldn't do it. So yes, I do enjoy doing it, but there are days that I don't want to, and there are some maps I really don't want to, but we do them anyway.
What happened to the theme and LUT review?
Well, that's a casualty of not enough views for the amount of time it took to record each episode. I thought it was going to be really easy. I thought it was going to be so simple to do. At the end of the day, it was just a simple flyover, which is saved into the memory, so I didn't have to set it up every time. It was just like load the camera and off you go. And then all I've got to do is set the camera rolling over the scene, and then do the same again with a different LUT, and then do the same again with a different LUT, and then do the same again with a different LUT, and then set the time to the evening, and then do the same thing again with the first LUT, the second LUT, the third LUT. So basically 8 recordings. Each one was about 5 minutes. 8 times by 5 minutes is 40 minutes. And then snipping them all together, maybe that's another 5 or 10 minutes. And then the rendering process was about an hour, because there was an awful lot of things going on all at the same time, all the way across the screen. It was really time intensive. Probably about 2 hours, I would say, for each show. The shows were relatively short, and they really didn't get many views at all. For all of the effort involved, it just didn't stack up. If it was getting the views, I would of course be doing it, because 2 hours for 1 million views is great. 2 hours for 100 views, it's just not worth it, when I could be doing a new tutorial or a let's play or anything. Anyway, so there's your answer. Not enough views for the amount of time it took to record.
Do you think you can make a history of all the segments ever produced for What Map? One of my favorites was Asset World. Do you think you could just have an annual single episode version of all the assets from that year?
Okay, 2 questions in one. Let's start off with the history. I think it's a really cool idea, and we did something very similar about a year ago on the 10k celebration video, where I was able to show the evolution of the intro of the show. But that's really easy to do because the intros don't change very often. So I just watch the first few seconds of a show, that's the same intro, jump back 100 episodes, that's a different intro, cut and whatever, and eventually you find that show where the intro changed. That was fairly easy for me to spot all of the different intros that we had. Didn't even need to spot the first ones, I just needed to find the different variations. But things like the first Jinky Janky, the first time I sang everybody's favourite Factory, the inclusion of Asset World when Asset World stopped, these episode numbers I just don't have. I never thought to keep them, I didn't think it would be important, and so if there are any WhatMap historians out there that want to crawl through 1300 episodes to let me know this is the first time this happened, or this is the last time that happened, yeah, sure. Let's work together, let's collaborate, and let's put together, and you'll get a shout out at the start of that show. But it'd be a hell of a lot of work, and I don't recommend it. In terms of Asset World, right, for those of you that don't remember Asset World, it was a different way of doing the asset review. The asset review, as you know, currently at the end of the show, used to be in the middle of the show, currently at the end of the show, where I just zoom down, we fly around an asset off of the workshop, give a little bit of spotlight to an asset creator before going into the ratings. I thought at one point it'd be quite fun to use these assets to make a city, and then whatever asset was the asset of the day, to plop that down once and once only into our burgeoning city. And it was fine. It was fine. It was so long ago. It was built on Merrick's though, but it was fine. It was okay. But it got cluttered very quickly, and it meant that I had a system that was getting heavier and heavier and heavier with one extra asset every single day. And I think this was on my old i7 as well. So what happened to Asset World was it got a bit clunky and a bit heavy for the purpose it was trying to solve, and trying to show an asset which is tucked in between two other assets by spinning it around, it meant you didn't get such a good view of the asset as well. So that's why Asset World went out of the window. But one of the other things for the historians, if you want to track back, there was a point where all of the asset reviews were done on the same vanilla map. Don't remember which one. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me in the comments. So yeah, they're all done on the same vanilla map, and there was a point I just thought, do you know what, no, we'll just do it on the map of the day. And there was an episode where we switched from one to the other. It may have been either side of Asset World, I don't recall. Somebody let me know in the comments if you can.
Will you ever get factoids that are not from a trivia book lost in the 80s? You could do stuffed trivia facts about Cities Skylines creators.
Yes, indeed. I had 2 factoid trivia books dating back to the 1980s, part of the same series. The first one's gone. The second one is half finished. I reckon there's no more than about a year, maybe not even that, of factoids left in that one before we have completely wiped it out. When that happens, I have no idea what we're going to do. Now, factoids about City Skylines creators is extra work, and already spending 2 to 4 hours per episode putting together a review, researching for a factoid is a lot of it. Why I just use this book. Is to hand, it's quick, it's easy, it just fills a little gap in the show. So yes, maybe I'll buy a new factoid book, maybe I'll use a factoid website, maybe you'll come to me with factoids. I've no clue at this point. We're still some way from it. There's plenty of time to think about it. Maybe factoids, because factoids will be gone. Maybe WhatMap will be gone. Who can predict the future? But yes, factoids in their current format from these books will be winding up, I would say, within the next 12 months.
What is your favorite factoid?
How can you have a favourite factoid? They're all favourite factoids. Although, I do love a meme. And therefore, my favourite factoid is the female mosquito. That one.
I saw on another channel a montage of BonBonB Out of Context moments. Can we make this an official once or twice a year thing?
Oh, I hope so, but it's not down to me. You're looking at work by Random5, and I've got to say that those out of context videos crack me up. They are done so well. If you can't laugh at yourself, then who can you laugh at? And I know that Random was really concerned the first one that they did that I was going to take offense to it and, you know, go off on one. No, not at all. Not at all. Absolutely love them. Highly recommend them to everybody. I'll link them into the description of this video so that you can go and take a look yourself. But yes, in terms of making them a regular thing, so you'd have to speak to Random about that. I know that there are a lot of work to put together, because it's not just finding the funny bits, it's putting them together in a way that's entertaining and kind of works. You know, it's just, yeah, exceptional work from Random5. Please keep doing them. I understand if you don't, because there's a lot of work involved, but yes, ideally, absolutely would like to see one a month.
What is your favorite comment out of any you have received?
You mean other than this one? Oh, there's a question. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of comments on the channel. How do you pick out one? I don't know that I can, because there's so many different sorts of comments. There's the standard ones, the just general comments on the video. Then you've got the funny ones. You've got people that will just post jokes. Thank you very much. You know who you are. Do read them. Always laugh at them. Don't always hit the like button. Sorry about that. I should, really, shouldn't I? But I feel with the hitting the like button with me, if I do the old love this comment, if I love the same person's comment, or you feel like you should be loving everybody else's, and then you start thinking, well, if I don't love your comment, you're going to wonder why I don't love your comment. So yeah, so I don't always go to the effort of clicking the love button, but yeah, always read, always appreciated. Then there are the people that come to me thanking me for the solutions to life itself. I love that. Well, obviously, of course, I love those comments. Yeah, of course, I think my favorite comment is probably somebody who's come to me saying, BonBon, thank you very much. You've made my life complete because you're funny, witty, amazing, love your accent, and you've solved my City Skylines problem that I had, and you're the best. That's probably my favourite comment. Least favourite comment hasn't been asked, but I will say there's tutorials. There's always somebody who'll ask a question in a tutorial thread. How does this work? When the answer is very much in the tutorial, and has already been asked by about 30 other people in the same tutorial thread, and has been answered by me in the comments to those questions multiple times. Yeah, that's my least favourite one. I think the have you activated anarchy on the parking lot tutorial one. Check out the parking lots tutorial. Check out how many people have problem because they haven't activated anarchy. And it is covered in the tutorial. So yeah, those would be my least favourite.
Have you ever thought about changing the asset of the day jingle?
Thought about it? Yes. Gonna do it? No. There's something really cheesy about that jingle. It's short, it's succinct, it just fits the show perfectly, given the sort of quirkiness that I know that the show has. So no, not going to change that. I did change the graphics. Again, here's one for the historians to let me know when that changed. The original graphics on the assets thing were hand-drawn by me in probably about a minute in the graphics program. And then the animating of it was done by hand in Camtasia Studio. And I just wanted something short and easy and quick that wasn't going to take me hours to put together. You don't want like a 30-second intro to the asset review, really. So yes, it works perfectly. And then I did feel that the graphics needed an update. So the new graphics are from screenshots within the game using vanilla assets, because I felt that it was, if I used one custom asset, I'd have to sort of like, well, hang on, we've used one from Smileys, we've got to use one from Sven, and then we'll use one from Ronix, and then somebody's not going to get used. So I stuck with the vanilla assets for the asset review sting.
What do you plan to do with your second channel?
BonBonB 2 exists mostly as an overflow to cheat the algorithms a little bit. As you'll know, the way that YouTube works, if you have a successful video, then the next video, it will promote a little bit better. Usually, not strictly true, but usually. If you have a video that's a stinker, or 2 or 3 in a row that are stinkers, then it won't promote your next videos and so forth. So what I've found is most of the videos that do well on my main channel are City Skylines based, mostly. I figured what I really need to do is I need to have a second channel for other games, for testing things on, for throwing things over there saying, hey, I'm going to try something. Or I just want to record some footage of this. I want to play this game. If I do it on the main channel, it'll get, argument's sake, 100 views, and it'll affect the performance of WhatMap and my tutorials and stuff. So it exists for me to dabble with and to muck around with and to do whatever I want on. It's a Fall About channel. It's a gaming channel still, and it's there, say, just not to negatively affect the main channel. I don't put as much on there as I'd like because, of course, time is always a thing. When I launched the channel, I was on lockdown. I had more time for other stuff. But there is more stuff going to be going up on there soon. I've got some stuff recorded for it. Just need to get around to uploading it. In terms of my third channel, oh yes, third channel. Well, there is a third channel already, but it's only got like 1 video on it, and it's, yeah, let's not talk about that one. If you know about it, congratulations to you. But no, it's, yeah, that was me trying to be creative. Fail. But there is going to be a 4th channel coming with intentions of this being a big hitter. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it right now. It's not within gaming. It is within my core knowledge of expertise of knowledge of expertise. It's which isn't speaking. But it is going to be on my core subject of candy, basically. We'll be launching that hopefully within the month. I've got a way that I want to roll this out, but it's going to take a bit of setting up. So yes, so that won't be coming, and that will be candy related.
Would you consider doing a collab map series?
Oh, I absolutely would do a collab map series. I haven't done one to date because I haven't come up with the right idea, and nobody's come to me with the right idea that would work. Now, I have got an idea bubbling around. There's always an idea, I don't know if you can hear it, bubbling around in the back of my brain. Hopefully we'll find a bit of time in the autumn to get on with that one. Could be a lot of fun, that one. It is technically a collaboration series. But again, it's not my highest priority. It's just bubbling around in the back, and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. If it, one way or another, something's going to happen, isn't it? So yes, answer to your question is, will we have a collaboration map series? It's possible.
Do you feel like you should integrate yourself further into the city's YouTube EXOSPHERE?
I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean by this one, but let me think. Would I or should I? Well, I would, time permitting, because that's the other thing. The more you get into this social media, discording, bouncing of chatting and whatever, that takes time. It takes a whole chunk of time, and I'm already investing more time than most other City Skylines players and YouTubers. There are exceptions, the likes of BIFFA, who's obviously a full-timer. But yes, the amount of hours I put in per day probably exceeds most other 98 to 99% of other City Skylines creators, I would suggest. I'm guessing. I'm totally guessing. I don't know for sure, but that's certainly how I would feel. In terms of finding more time to spend an hour a day with messaging and bouncing back, I just don't know that I have it to invest. But also, what could I bring to the City Skylines Exosphere? Map making? Well, there are definitely better map makers than me, there's no question there. So I can come in with an input, but not much more than that. And then the rest of the Exosphere, you have got the big brains. You've got the top city builders, you have got the modders, you've got the asseteers, you've got all of these people with the technical knowledge. And there's me, just a presenter of what I find, because that's all I do, is I just find something and I present it. So I could, maybe I should, but I don't know what I would bring, and I don't know that that anybody would benefit from me being there anyway. People can always message me directly. I'll always respond to messages directly, but I just I don't see that me being a truly active member on Discord or Reddit is really going to benefit anybody to any great degree, apart from me getting a few extra subscribers from being visual.
Is there a chance that Skylines talks will get continued, maybe with a focus on map makers and their individual approach on map making?
Oh, Skylines talk, yes. I'd love to bring that back. There are some problems though. First of all, it's 6 to 8 hours per episode to record and edit. So there is that one. Secondly, at the time, there was no real competition. So it was that, or you didn't watch an interview on City Skylines. Managed to get Fresh Popcorn, Biffa, Bloody Penguin, several map makers, and several modders, and several asseteers. It was a great series. Getting the likes of King Leno. I never expected to speak to King Leno. The late great Ikanya and such. Yes, it was a great series. It was fun to do. It was challenging to do as well. And doing something out of your comfort zone is definitely something worth doing every now and then. However, today we have the official City Skylines channel, which has their highly polished professional interviews that are definitely worth watching, very insightful. And then, of course, City Slickers as well from Skibbeth and $2.20. And again, absolutely amazing production there. Hour-long, in-depth interviews with the big names, and of course with video footage as well, which is something that I was steering away. Skylines Talk was animated, and this is all live action. So for me, I can't compete with those. I can't compete. They're both too good. They are both too good for me to even consider bringing Skylines Talk back for. Could I do something similar to the Christmas special that I did with Mr. Miyagi, where we do a flyover with a live chat? That's a possibility. The only problem would be the language barrier, where a lot of the top asset map makers, if you're talking about going with map makers, English is a second or a third or even a fourth language. And if you remember the interview with Ikanya, who everybody else did very well. Ikanya was really struggling with English as their second language. They did okay. It was a valiant interview, but it was hard to interview them. It was hard to edit, and it was also really hard listening as well. Lovely guy, really good interview, but boy, was it listening to an old man. Lovely guy. I miss you so much. But an old guy speaking a second language was very difficult. So, yes, possibly. So I turned to the likes of Anapu and Sidai and such. Would you be interested? Would you be interested in me doing a live map flyover with you, asking you questions about ideas? I think it's something we could do. I think it's something we could definitely do. So, yes, possibly a variation on Skylines Talk as a live map flyover. Maybe.
I would love to see you do a Let's Play series. Is this something you would consider doing?
Ah yes, the classic City Skylines YouTube show. It's a city builder game. Let's build a city. And I have been there more than once. My very first series on the channel was a City Skylines Let's Play, and it started out poor and it deteriorated from there. Standards were awful. It was me learning the game, and I do not recommend it. Watch it at your peril. Then a couple of years ago, I revived the Let's Play and brought Duvo to the screens. Now, Duvo I was quite pleased with. I'm quite proud of. The thing is, City Skylines Let's Plays, it's more than just pointing a camera at what you're building. There's planning involved. There's a lot of editing involved. There's so much that goes into it that a half-hour show could easily be 10 hours worth of work. Easily. And I'm sure there are creators out there who spend even more than that. Now, I do all of these shows on a daily basis for the channel. To find an extra 8 to 10 hours to go into a Let's Play is a bit of a push. Now, if I gave up everything, and that, well, I mean, that would free me up easily, very easily, 20 hours a week, and we could do a Let's Play series once a week. And the thing is, and I'm going to say this, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. I don't think I am as good a city builder as many of the top YouTubers. There's just no way I'm in the same league, time permitting or not, as the Strict Toasters, the Skibiffs, the $2.20s, and so the list goes on and on and on. I think I'm good. I don't think I'm great. And so therefore, I can't compete with that. Now, I am recording at the moment a new Let's Play series. It's called The Island. It's based on BonBon Island, my last island and my last map build. And episode 1 is in the can. I'm holding it back because I don't want to put out episode 1 and then leave it 2 months for episode 2. I want there to be a steady flow, even if it's every 2 to 3 weeks, of a new episode. And at this time, even if I put this episode out, there's going to be a bit of a wait for the next one. So I'm holding it back. It's not your typical City Skylines Let's Play. I'm not trying to emulate the greats. I can't. There's no point in me doing. I'm doing one that fits in with the channel, and so expect little nod to different different mods and different assets and that sort of thing, and techniques. So all of that to come on the channel. Yes, there will be a Let's Play. Episode 1 might even be out before this goes out. It might be a close run thing. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, yes, Let's Play coming soon. Won't be a $2.20 style Let's Play. I just can't do that.
Is it true that, like BIFFA, you were set to have a regular show on the official City Skylines channel?
Ah, yes, that. Yes, indeed. Now, I can't talk openly about it because I did sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with Paradox, so I can't talk openly. I can't tell you anything really too much, except for there was some stuff recorded. There was movement towards having something going out on the screens, and it didn't happen. And actually, personally, retrospectively, I'm quite happy that it didn't, because it means that I've been able to continue completely impartial. I don't have to worry about upsetting anybody or pulling the party line or anything like that. The sort of thing that, I mean, BIFFA has got great diplomacy skills. My diplomacy skills are not so good. So I take my cap off to BIFFA. I doff it to him, and he does a great job over there. But yeah, I'm kind of happy it didn't work out in retrospect. But at the time, I was a little bit miffed that it didn't work, because, you know, it would have been nice. The exposure would have been excellent. But yeah, it is what it is. It's in the past, and I can't talk about it.
How can you be so disciplined to pump out new content every single day? And what else do you do in your spare time?
Oh, well, it's quite easy, really. First of all, I'm a single man of a certain age with no life. So that gives me a lot of free time and no hag nagging over my shoulder. Now, you still on that computer? No, none of that going on. It's just me, it's the computer, and it's the whole evening now. I can fill the evening by watching Netflix, which is one of the things that I do when I'm not making YouTube videos. Or I can use the computer to play a different game, which I do when I want to chill out from making videos. But making the videos is productive. At the end of it, I have something tangible that I can then share. I can put up, and even if nobody watches the video, it's something tangible when I eventually, you know, skip off to whatever is beyond the pearly gates and all of that. There will be some kind of legacy. I mean, it's not worth anything really, but there will be some kind of legacy. There'll be something of me still going. So it's kind of nice. But yeah, I do like a little bit of gaming when I'm not doing this. There knows a gaming question coming along soon, so I won't talk about that any further here. But yeah, a little bit of Netflix, a little bit of gaming, a little bit of housework, maybe go and do some shopping. It's very exciting, isn't it? On top of that, of course, a little bit of OCD when you're recording a series and you get up to any number, really. Episode 7, episode 8, you kind of it's open-ended. It's not like it's a 100-episode series and you get to the end and you're done. It's open-ended. I could keep going until we run out of maps. I mean, we won't, but it could happen. So yes, I am committed to Monday to Saturday. And so I get out of bed, I do my stuff, I sit down, I make a video, I go back to bed. Simple as that. And that's it for part 2. Of course, part 1, if you missed it, the link is at the top of the description. And part 3 will be coming along very soon. We'll be focusing on maps, map making, and a whole chunk about just little old me. I've been BonBonB, you've been very, very welcome, and I'll see you again very, very soon.